I'm really grateful that you gave me a bit of an education. Robin, thank you so much for coming on this evening.
You're welcome, Steve.
Robin Yu is a Brisbane real estate agent. Interesting that he's got clients flying in specially tonight to try and purchase or look at an apartment or a property to buy before the new state tax comes in at the end of this month.
Every day, ABC Radio Brisbane brings you stories from where you live.
Stories from the heart.
Stories from the home. Stories that unite.
Stories that challenge.
Join us this Wednesday as we head out of the studio and meet some of the people who make this city tick. We'll journey across the suburbs, right into the heart of Brisbane.
The sound of your city.
Where you're local.
ABC Radio Brisbane.
20 minutes past 6 p.m. in about 10 minutes from now. If you've driven or walked along James Street in Fortitude Valley over the past few days, you may have seen a lone protester armed with a 4-kilogram bag of sugar. What's she doing there? Well, her name is Maria Kuljanik. She's from the suburb of Beenleigh. And she's been holding protests around Brisbane City trying to pressure pet food companies to reduce the amount of sugar in their products that are produced specifically for animals. She's doing it at a time when a federal inquiry into the safety of pet food is underway. You may recall that I spoke with Maria a few weeks back when the veterinarians were holding their big conference at the convention centre. Maria Kuljanik, where are you exactly? Evening to you.
Good evening, Steve. I'm actually at James Street Veterinary Hospital in Beenleigh, and I'm meeting a few people, although it's just about to close now. My cat got fat on commercial pet food from the supermarket store, and I took the cat here for a weigh-in, and they prescribed the Royal Canin brand, which actually made the cat fatter, which contributed to feline diabetes.
We told your story a few weeks back, and it got quite an interesting reaction. And we actually spoke to a vet who pointed out that there was some serious legitimate concerns about the health standard of processed or manufactured pet food. So just recount why it is you've become a protester about this. You've been very persistent protesting at different locations around Brisbane.
That's correct, because I've since done my own research, Steve, and I've discovered that cats are carnivores, and carnivore nutrition is not pet food nutrition. Pet food nutrition is processed food, it's cooked diet, and it's full of chemical binders, flavours, colours, palatability enhancers, and carbohydrates, which is the sugar. And that's what is making our feline and canine populations fat, and then the obesity leads to diabetes. And then you're forced to buy insulin shots, which I had to do twice a day for 2 years, while I saw 23 veterinarians trying to control the sugar diabetes. And then the poor cat went through every underlying test to find the underlying disease, only to discover that, there was nothing wrong, there's no other disease other than the bad diet. So I've become really passionate about this because I want people to know that if you switch the diet and go for carnivore nutrition, your cat and dog won't get fat and it won't get sugar diabetes.
Your point is sort of natural meat and bones, not processed or manufactured pet foods.
So cats and dogs in the wild, Steve, don't cook for themselves, nor do the cats at Australia's Zoo. They're eating raw meaty bones, whole carcasses, fresh food diet. But the poor small cat and the dog at home, most of them are eating processed, cooked diets called pet food. So I'm out here today trying to let people know that you can avoid all this unnecessary testing. My cat went through fructosamine tests and underlying disease tests and bladder tests, and tests were flown to New South Wales Royal Albert Hospital. I spent thousands of dollars at the vet unnecessary when my cat was screaming for a change of diet, a carnivore diet. So,
what sort of reaction have you had from people while you're there, both veterinarians and people taking their animals into the veterinary facility?
Oh, wow. I've had people cross the road. I've had people say, look, we haven't had a chance to actually come and speak to you, but finally we're here tonight. They want to know more about this. They want to know, why is the dry food so bad for the dog? there's a study that was done in Finland. It's called the Dog Risk Research Study. They've taken 4 groups of dogs, raw-fed raw, Group 2, dry-fed dry, Group 3, raw-fed dry, and then Group 4, dry-fed raw. And what they discovered in Finland was the dogs eating raw food had the lowest blood marker for inflammation. When they switched the dog to dry food, it went up 10%. And this is called homocysteine, is the blood marker in the dogs, and that leads to dog cancer. And we know for a fact that over half the canine population have dog cancer.
My guest is Maria Kuljanik. She's a pet lover. She had a cat who died from a range of obesity and feline diabetic problems. She's from Beenleigh. She's been holding protests around the city. And we interviewed her a few weeks back when she was outside the veterinarian conference in Brisbane, whereby they called the police on you. And I believe you've had the police called twice where you're standing in the valley. Is that right? Have you done something wrong?
I've done nothing wrong. I'm just standing on the street with 2-metre high banners called Pet Food, the movie, Dr. Tom Lonsdale's book, also on a banner about feline nutrition, the dangers of dry food, another 2-metre high banner, another banner about the raw dog risk research study in Finland. I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm just trying to get the word out that carnivore nutrition is not pet food nutrition. And
now, a federal inquiry is underway into the safety of pet food. Have you made a submission to this federal government inquiry that's currently open now or taking submissions now?
I'm about to do it. That's right, the Senate inquiry into pet food. The submissions close on the 20th of July. I'm planning to put one in. I've got an animal lawyer. We're putting together my own personal submission, and I'm going to put in there the blood glucose tests and all the other tests that we went through unnecessarily had I just changed the diet for a cat.
Now, you're not a veterinarian, you're not a scientist, but when you speak with veterinarians privately, what do they tell you about your concerns over commercially produced pet food?
Oh, they discredit it. You know, they won't talk publicly. Well, one or two, Dr. Lonsdale, Dr. Ian Billinghurst, there are a few which will come out, but most of them would just want to keep it all quiet because they're making money out of this. They're making a 40% markup on the Royal Canin and the Hills and the Purina veterinary prescription diet.
I'll leave it there. Maria Kuljanik, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Maria Kuljanik is from Beenleigh. She's not a veterinarian or a scientist. The federal inquiry into the safety of pet food is underway now. You can go to the federal parliamentary website. I understand submissions close on the 20th of July. Nearly time for me to go. Birthdays can invoke crises in the best of us, particularly when we're hitting a major milestone. In this sketch on Absolutely Fabulous, Edna, played by British comedian Jennifer Saunders, is regretting waking up early on the morning of her 40th birthday.
Hello, death. Hello, oblivion. What time is it, darling?
10.
Oh, God, I better be off.
It's Sunday.
Oh, it's true then, is it?
Happy. Happy birthday.
Oh, darling. Oh, God, how old am I? No, don't tell me, darling. I'm...
You're 40.
Oh, God, darling. I don't feel 40.
Well, you don't look...
Oh, thank you.
Come on
Thank
now,
you.
it's not the end of the world, it's just a day like any other
Oh,
day.
God, it's like I hit an oil patch at 35 and I'm just skidding towards the grave, darling. Do I look any different, darling? Do I? Look at my face. What do you see? Who do you see there, darling? You can lie, you know. I'm just looking for a response here.
Ask her to do that, she's much better at it. You look like a 40-year-old woman who's just woken up.
Oh, well, I haven't even been asleep, darling. I could feel the 40ness coming upon me in the night, darling. Darling, have a look out the window. The buzzards circling, sweetie.
Look, do you want my present in these cards now or later?
Oh, I don't know.
They might cheer you up.
Oh, what? They might what?
Oh, look, never mind.
No, you have to speak up, darling. This just take longer to reach old brains. I've got old ears now, darling.
Absolutely Fabulous is being rerun on Wednesday nights on ABC Comedy.
Steve Austin on ABC Radio Brisbane.
It's half past 6.